Hello, my name is Andrei Yagodin. I'm the founder of StayBit blockchain project. In this video, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the purpose of our project, and I'm gonna run a demo of our prototype product. Typically, when people rent properties on short-term basis, is when they go to vacation, business trips, or any kind of medical tourism. Booking process requires from renters to commit the whole amount dedicated to rent plus security deposit upfront, sight unseen, and travelers will have to make this decision based on a few pictures they found on the internet. So this is a huge problem of trust, and the cost of this trust is huge. Unfortunately, scammers exploit free resources like classifieds, for example, sites like Craigslist. To understand the significance of this problem is just enough to run a Google search, and here you can see a lot of posts and complaints. And if we randomly open just one of these, so what we can learn from this article is, for example, in Ocean City, Maryland, in USA, police department has received 94 cases of online vacation rental scams since 2011. So that means in this little town with a population of 7,000 people, about 12 or 13 cases of fraud are happening every year. Platforms like Airbnb solve this problem by handling payments themselves through the platform. But the cost of the solution is too high. So typically they charge from 15 to 20% per each transaction. And this cost is carried over to travelers. So if you follow vacation rental industry news, you can learn that one of the major platforms, HomeAway, has raised the fees by a surprising 25%. So this happened just 6 months ago. Unfortunately, raising fees, they results in canceling the reservation, and vacation rental owners, they lose their business because of this. So existing platforms, they know that there is no alternative, and so they know that they can raise fees, and they can keep raising fees until they found the maximum. StayBit project provides a very low-cost solution based on blockchain technology, and particularly on open source Ethereum framework and its distributed network. Our solution is based on smart contracts and cryptocurrency. So basically, when traveler books a reservation, then they create a smart contract and they deposit a whole amount dedicated to rent plus security deposit to that smart contract. And when on a moving day, traveler has an option to cancel reservation, and if they cancel, then they pay cancellation fees, but what happens to the money is it becomes available to the traveler immediately. To compare this to Airbnb platform, for example, if you cancel on Airbnb, then they declare that your money will be available in 48 hours after cancellation date. But in the reality, there are a lot of complaints that people have to wait for 1 week or 2 weeks from the cancellation. We have developed 3 types of rental contracts, and the behavior of these contracts defined by cancellation policy. So far we have flexible, moderate, and strict cancellation policies. So these policies mimic behavior of existing platforms like Airbnb or VRBO. So here on this page you can read about this behavior and about different policies. The cost of execution of our contract is between 3 and 5 US dollars in fiat money equivalent. And as you can see, the cost is a flat fee, and so what travelers have to pay is cost to execute the contract, or so-called mining fees. Okay, so now I'm gonna show how to test our demo version. So here is our website, StayBit.io, and we have a link to our demo version. In order to run our demo version, you need to have a Web3 browser. So typically for desktop platforms, we advise to use Chrome with MetaMask extension. If you want to run it on your smartphone, you would have to install Cypher Web3 browser. You're gonna need to have 2 Ethereum accounts. One is for tenant, second is for landlord. Okay, so here I'm gonna start with landlord. So I have to select account 2 for the landlord. In order to run smart contracts, these 2 accounts need to have some Ether, and the tenant account needs to have a StayBit token because he needs to pay for reservation. So this demo is available on Ropsten testnet only. So that means any token that you use, they do not have any real-world monetary value. So you can get all these tokens for free through the faucets. So we have links to Ether faucet and token faucet. On these faucets, you just get your tokens for free for the testing. This demo version covers real-world scenario when tenant found landlord through the classified website like Craigslist, and they negotiated rent per day, security deposit, cancellation policy. So when they done that, a landlord creates a payment request. Okay. So we proceed to create a payment request. Here we go. So let's check again that we have account number 2 selected for landlord. So I select rent per day, security deposit, memo. So here we have to put recipient email. Anytime we do anything with our rental contract, recipient will receive an email notification that something happened. Move-in date is when we're gonna move. So let's pick this week of September, because it's in the future. September to 22 September, and we click submit. Okay, if our request was created successfully, then we receive this notification, and the recipient will get this notification through email, and this is what is needed to retrieve payment request. So basically it's just ID and 4-digit PIN number. So here I'm gonna close this, go to main menu. So here I have to check my email. Just email notification, basically turning the same thing. And I can retrieve payment request based on ID and PIN number. Here I go back to our demo. So now I have to select tenant account. So here on MetaMask I select account 1. To refresh the page, and I go to accept payment request. Here I select request ID and PIN number 7889, I believe. Okay, oh, it was probably 3. Okay, now I got my payment request. So now what I have to do is accept payment request. So that means I'm happy with all these terms that were entered by landlord. So rent per day, security deposit, move in, move out dates. So here I accept request. So now when I accept request, here when blockchain kicks in. So we can, every time the blockchain is about, our D app is about to submit a transaction, and MetaMask pops up, and here we can either reject transaction or submit transaction. So here, and here is a estimation transaction fee, so it's 10 cents in US dollar equivalent. So here is submit, and wait till this transaction gets mined. Okay, so here we have a confirmation. So next step, tenant has to create contract. When he creates contract, then he books a property, and that he commits the whole money for the reservation. Contract. So here MetaMask again. So this time transaction fee is $1. Click submit. So we have to wait till transaction gets mined. So this account has 1,460 StayBit tokens. Now, when this transaction was successful, then this amount is going to decrease because he committed his tokens. Oh, here we go. He committed these tokens to contract. So it means he made a payment in advance to the contract. But contract acts as escrow. So if tenant is not happy with the property, he can always cancel. When tenant signals move in, that means only then landlord is entitled to get the whole amount dedicated to rent. Okay, here we go. Here we can see contract balance, and we can see a contract state. Can be active or not active, and pre-move in, that means the stage when contract got created, but tenant hasn't moved in yet. On the log list, our application posts all events, and there is a link to Etherscan. Here you can see the transaction on Etherscan. So it was success. It happened 1 minute ago. So this is how anybody can verify what happened to the smart contract on the blockchain. The nature of short-term contract is that it may take weeks or months to play out from the beginning to the end. So we made the reservation in September, so a few weeks from now. In order to simplify testing of our contract, we added functionality to simulate date, so we can simulate any date. Simulating date also takes, it's happening on the blockchain, and it takes mining fees, but in real world version there is not going to be this function, because our contract is going to learn about current date from blockchain, and there is not going to be a token faucets, because users going to be buying tokens on the exchange. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is we simulate date, and we're gonna simulate moving date. So let's see what happens. 9/16. Click submit. Okay, so from this field we can see that our transaction was successful. We simulated move-in date. We created our contract on August 8, and we moved date to the future to September 16. Now our contract thinks that it's a move-in date, so we have added options. On a move-in date, tenant has the following options. He can cancel contract because he may have changed their mind, or he can signal to move in, or he can claim fraud or misrepresentation of the property by the landlord. When tenant cancels contract, that means he just pays cancellation fees, and the whole money dedicated to rent will get back to him, to them. When he signals move in, that means he's happy with the property, he moves in, and then landlord is going to be entitled to receive money dedicated to rent. In case of fraud, then cancellation fee going to be split between these two sides, because there is no way for the contractor to learn who's right, who's wrong, so he just splits cancellation fees to both parties, and that's it. Landlord receive cancellation fee or fraction of cancellation fee, and tenant will receive his money back, so he can go to a hotel and execute plan B in case he got scammed. Okay, so let's execute a normal execution of the contracts. We signal move in. Okay. Click submit. We wait till it gets mined. Okay, here receive event, tenant signals move in. It's also, this transaction is also available on Interscan. So we just have to wait a little bit. Yes, sometimes it takes time to synchronize between blockchain and Etherscan, so we'll check later. Okay, so next thing, we're gonna simulate move out date. So we do simulate date again. 9/22. Okay, so now we're simulating move out date. Now contract is still active, but he knows that we are at a termination phase. The balance is 550 StayBit tokens. Now there is no option for the tenant anymore, but there are options for the landlord to close this contract and claim security deposit. If he found that tenant didn't clean the unit or property or he broke something. Okay, now we switch to account 2. So account 2 has 540 tokens, and when he receives payment, it's going to be more. So we have to refresh this page. So here we can claim security deposit. For example, claiming $10, and we click close contract. That means landlord is withholding $10 from security deposit from this amount, and the maximum he can withhold is $100. Okay, so we click close contract. So transaction fee is $1.26 US dollar equivalent. We click submit. Wait for the transaction to get mined. Okay, here we go. And what we can see is contract stated became inactive. That it means contract got closed. It means also security deposit got claimed. Contract balance is 0. That means contract made a decision how to split the balance, which was on the contract, and every time it makes a decision, so he puts an event explaining the amount of money that went to the landlord, how much went back to tenant. Okay, so as I said before, every transaction is logged and can be examined through Etherscan. So we try to examine move-in transaction. Was it successful? So let's see if we can do it again. Okay. Okay, now it's successful because, as I said, it takes time to synchronize transaction on Etherscan. So let's see if we can see this one. Yeah, okay, so we see that it was successful. So we can examine event logs. On Etherscan, textual and all parameters of the events are encoded into hex, so it's not very convenient looking at them, but it's still possible. So we can see our events recorded on the Ethereum blockchain, and we can see them through Etherscan. Okay, so now we need to check the landlord balance through the MetaMask, and it got increased. The balance was something like 540, so he received 460, and landlord has balance of 1000 StayBit token. Okay, so we just tested normal behavior of our contract. Thank you for watching. It was StayBit project. Thank you.